Welcome to Top to Bottom Male Romance Podcast, where we celebrate all things male romance. I am Jessica.
And I'm Markie. So this is a bonus episode. We had the chance to speak with Yamila Abraham, the owner of Y Press Games, about their new visual novel, To Trust an Incubus, which has a Kickstarter going on right now. And we explain a little bit more about the game and how you can support it in the interview. So without beating around the bush, here's our interview. All right, so joining us today is Yamila Abraham, who is the owner of Yaoi Press. Yaoi Press published yaoi graphic novels from 2004 to 2012. They publish works by Studio Kosen, Danny and Danny, which we've talked about on the show before, and Studio Koi. Yaoi Press is best known for Sahoshi the Guardian, Winter Demon, Anima, Treasure, and Dark Prince, which you can read online for free. Yamila wrote the Winter Demon and Dark Prince series. She's also written 175 novels and novellas, which are sold through Amazon Kindle. So thanks so much for being on the show, Yamila.
Thanks for having me.
So we brought you on because you have a new visual novel game that's coming out called To Trust an Incubus. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, yes. Yaoi Press has moved into video games now, in particular visual novels. And To Trust an Incubus is our second visual novel. First one was My Magical Demon Lover, and that one's going to come out in May. To Trust an Incubus is a much larger project than our first visual novel. It's a dating sim, science fiction. It takes place in Japan, and it follows Kenta, a temp worker in Japan who gets a temp job at a lab where they have 4 aliens in quarantine, and they start to notice that these aliens seem to have some unique powers, so they call them incubi. And the linguist there says that somebody has to bond with the incubi for them to understand them because they don't speak their language. And Kenta is the chosen one. And you'll play as him and try to figure out, are the incubi good? Are they evil? And at the same time, it's a choices matter game where you're going to earn stats to get different paths in the game. So you will also be earning points to try to get a permanent job at the lab and to unlock the side stories. In particular, the professor of the lab and his assistant, you get to decide if they get to have their love requited because the two of them are in love with each other. And then also the incubi all have past histories with each other. They either hate, love, or need each of the other incubi that they're quarantined with. So you'll have a chance to either make peace with the ones that hate each other or help the ones that are in love with each other get united. And it's all based on different stats. It's a 150,000 word game.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
What got you involved in this product?
Well, so I'm a writer. Well, I was a publisher for Yaoi Press for many years, as you said. And then I got into writing because when Borders Books closed, the graphic novel business was just too difficult to stay solvent. So I switched to mostly just being an independent writer to sustain myself. And I'll admit that I was just having a rough road with that, and I needed to try something new. And I had such a huge pool of talent that I was close with from Yaoi Press that I said, okay, look, we can't really afford to make the graphic novels where it will be profitable. But there's this new thing, these visual novels. They've really started to take hold on Steam. And this is a way to bring back my artists and do graphic novel-like stories, except, with an interactive fiction slant to it, and put a lot of them back to work with me and Yaoi Press and just take advantage of the boom of visual novels that we're seeing on Steam right now, which is an amazing platform. And when I started Yaoi Press back in 2004, we had looked into visual novels, but all we saw was the struggle of Hiramaki, how they had never gotten distribution on Steam, and a few other visual novels that were just not getting traction in the localization to the United States. And we were like, nah, we're not going to touch that. But fortunately, over the last couple of years, starting in 2014, they've become not only carried on Steam, but very successful. I was very inspired by Dream Daddy,
yes,
yeah,
which became the #1 indie game of 2017, a gay game. And I was like, hey, I need to pay attention to this. They blazed a trail, and I have a great pool of talent that I could take along on this trip with me. So this became my entire focus. I've stopped everything else, and we're now fully 100% a game company, hoping to make at least 6 games a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's really ambitious because I know the process to make games it's not an easy one. So I know I'm part of the Kickstarter, so I see y'all's updates and I see everything that goes into them. And that's a lot. So that's exciting.
It's a lot more than I expected. I mean, I make myself a schedule every month, and I just totally underestimate the amount of work that's involved in the visual visual novel, and it's okay. The great thing is I have this amazing team of people. I mean, Studio Kosen are just phenomenal artists, but not just artists. They're very professional, great marketers. They know how to make the art kits that Steam requires. They just showed me the art kits today, and they make stuff that is, looks like it's been tested by focus groups, that it's so perfect and beautiful. And they're also, anytime I need something, like when we were censoring the game, they come up with unique ways to do it and became so invested in the product and put their heart into it and really became a partner to me, which I needed. And then I have this programmer it's funny that she wasn't a programmer, but I kind of drafted her and made her a programmer, and she's become so good at it. And she's able to do stuff that is very beyond my artistic mind. And without her, I seriously would not have a company.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really good group of people. Like I said, from the updates that I've been reading about what you guys have going on, and you introduced, I think, all of your staff at this point. So I got to, the updates is like, hey, I'm so and so, I work on the art and everything. So it's really cool to be able to know each person that goes into into the game.
Yeah, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I just realized I never even mentioned Markie, who's doing our voice acting. And I just want to mention him because this guy has got connections you would not believe. He knows movie stars, he knows Broadway stars, he knows voice actors who work on anime and very popular YouTube shows and so forth. And he's shown me his talent by doing full cast audiobooks versions of the Yaoi Press, or not Yaoi Press, but some of my Yaoi novels that I've written. And I'm like, yes, join us. We will be like, the games will sound so amazing with his talent behind it. So I'm really grateful that I have all these people with me, because unlike graphic novels where it's basically editor, artist, writer, letterer, and I often would do the writing, the lettering, and the setting up the book for the publisher all by myself. The visual novels are a much huger undertaking, and I'm really lucky that I have all these people I've worked with in the past that are happy to come back and work with me again on it.
That's really cool. So getting in a little bit more about the game itself, the game is listed as a Bara visual novel. For our listeners who aren't familiar with what that is, can you explain that for us?
Bara was the original magazine in Japan that was appealing to gay men. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with yaoi, I assume they are, but that's the genre, that's the word we use for boys love in the United States. That is a genre of very stylized manga and anime and books that are oriented towards women. Bara is oriented towards men. And when I went into the video games, I really wanted to focus on getting the male customers. And also, I saw that the number one game out there was Dream Daddy, so I felt that we would have a better chance if we started with Bara rather than with yaoi. It didn't work out that way. We ended up starting with a yaoi game for multiple different reasons. And also, I will say that if you look at Trusted Incubus, we've been very lucky that a lot of men have embraced it, but just as many women have. And most people say it is a Bara yaoi hybrid. And I'm okay with that. We seem to have at least tapped into a large enough audience to make the game successful.
Cool. That was actually going to be one of our questions, was what made this game, what do you think makes this game stand apart from others in the genre? Do you think it would be that blend of yaoi and Bara would be what kind of makes it stand apart from the other visual novels in the genre?
No, I will be honest. I think that the platform itself has really helped us. We get about 40% of backers straight from Kickstarter, and that is because Kickstarter, number one, has become the place for funding visual novels. They have brought so many creators and people there doing visual novels and supporting visual novels that they became a location where people are looking for visual novels. But on top of that, I have to give a shout out to Full Service by Maz Jojo. He did a Kickstarter a year earlier, which is really what inspired me, in addition to Dream Daddy. But that Kickstarter that made $96,000, I actually named one of our characters in homage to this game, because I was like, he was the one showing me just how successful it could be, that I could go all in, bring in a team and make promises to them that might actually come true. They showed me how well a game could do on Kickstarter. And also those people that supported his Kickstarter, a lot of them have come onto our Kickstarter. And I have to appreciate, how much this creator did to blaze the trail for us and get us backers. We get about 40% of backers just from Kickstarter. And then most of the other backers are from Facebook and other direct links And also the Starfighter webcomic. They had a very successful visual novel, so I made sure to get an ad there. And we've gotten about $2,000 or $3,000 from those readers too.
Yeah, Starfighter is amazing. I haven't played the visual novel game, but I love the comic.
Yeah.
Mentioning the Kickstarter, you guys have met the base goal, which is amazing, but the stretch goals are like seriously game changers. Can you tell us a bit about the stretch goals that you have?
Yes, we had really high hopes and we knew we were going to make that goal. And we figured it'll be about 20 days to get the base goal. And then the rest of the Kickstarter will be focused on the stretch goals. But then it happened in 14 days. And I was like, whoa, this is great. We really have a chance to get some of them. We have a lot of goals that I really think are going to happen, such as the professor character and the lab assistant falling in love and having a CG scene. And then we have some that are far off that I'm not sure we're going to make. However, we've put the demo on Steam and it should be up in 2 to 3 weeks. And we think we're going to get a big boost from the Steam traffic. One of the most asked for stretch goals was a hair toggle for body hair. And that is something I have worked out the budget for and really want to offer backers, but it is a higher price stretch goal. The other goals we have are things that me and my artists came up with. We have a very obnoxious character in the game and we have a stretch goal that he gets spanked. Then we have another stretch goal with extra naughty scenes in the game. And all characters becoming versatile. That was another really sought after stretch goal. And it's not as common in Yaoi, where you have the uke semi-dynamic, but it's more common in Bara. And we are, at our heart trying to be a Bara game. So you should see all the characters, both top and bottom, in the game. I'm fairly sure we'll hit that stretch goal. And if not, I've already kind of written a few characters that way, so we might get it anyway.
Nice.
And that was something we were actually both really excited about because, frequently, and especially in a lot of the novels that we read for our book club, it's always one or the other. And a lot of times it'd be really interesting to see that flip side. This is awesome. So we'd be able to see the flip side for everything. So I'm really hoping that stretch goal happens.
Yeah, that excited me too, because I hadn't thought of that. I played full service and it seemed that you had seme and uke characters in that. And I assumed, okay, that's what Bara is, I guess. I'm going to do the same thing. But as I looked into it more, I was like, and got feedback from 4chan and the Lenma Soft forums and all that, I started to realize, no, people really want this. And even though the characters kind of are written in a semi-uke way, you can see that there's one little tiny character and there's a big giant character. It's so exciting to think about putting those big manly characters on the bottom. I'm like, that this is just opening up so much hotness for the game. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
So you had mentioned that you're going to be putting the demo on Steam soon. We had talked a little bit about it before we started recording. One of the questions we had asked you was, since Steam is a platform that doesn't allow nudity, you guys had to get a little creative with how you decided to censor the game. Could you tell us about that?
Well, they do have a lot of adult games there that are censored, usually with the digitized, blur censoring. We looked at Coming Out on Top and we saw how they were censored, and we realized, okay, they're probably gonna be okay with our gay adult content as long as we, censor it really well. And so we had an update on the Kickstarter. We asked the fans, how did they want us to censor it? And my artist gave me 3 choices. And the first choice was to do the digitized blur type censoring. The second choice was to block it with rainbow flags. And the third choice was to do little chibi faces of the characters blocking the parts that need to be blocked. And I just said, I'm not even going to poll on this. I just want those chibis. And I assumed that she would make like chibis for each character and just do that. But when I played it, I realized she made a lot of chibis and they're all like changing their expressions for the different parts of the scenes. And it is hilarious. And I love it. And it's very reminiscent of how in Facebook, I don't know if you've seen where if somebody shares a naughty pic, they put a sticker over something.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it makes it goofy and funny. And I'm like, the game's not that serious. It does have some serious parts, but I don't think it's like that intense that we can't have something a little cute and funny in it. It adds so much value that I think people are actually going to want to play the censored version in addition to getting like whatever patch that we put out. It's just too much fun.
It's a good way to get people who wouldn't normally play the edited version to have to play it twice. Well, a lot more than twice, because there's a ton of endings, a ton of options for playing this game.
Yes, and if I could talk about that a little bit, it's not just that you have choices to make to try to get the good or bad endings. There's like the perfect good ending, and then there's the perfect bad ending, so to speak. Like if you want to have a perfect storm of horrible things happening to your character, there's a way to unlock that. And if you want him to get the job as a temp and to marry his incubus and for everybody else to be happy, there you can get the points to get that ending. Probably more good endings than bad, but it's not going to be perfectly easy to get the perfect good ending, which that's why you should go to Kickstarter and get the tier with the cheat map. And that'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, that's tempting because we downloaded the demo and I think we ran into a snag like immediately. Like he basically has to duck into the office and like take care of some things for a second. We like had him hold out for a while, but then the professor was like, "Oh, they're testing you," and I was like, "Crap!" Like I immediately know I already made a mistake.
Oh no! I gotta say, for the demo, you don't see the stats and you don't see many choices having too many consequences because this is the beginning part that you play to get to all the routes. This is before you've chosen your path in the game and are like locked into it and start earning points towards the ending. And I assume that people are probably going to fast forward through that a lot, so I didn't make many choices in there. You will not see too many choices that will affect what happens, except, who you pick for cleaning the room and who you pick to go and have sexy times with. Other than that, you're mostly going to see the stats come in play when we do the rest of the game. Oh, and that scene you're talking about, yeah, that was funny. I was trying to make it to be edging, and one YouTuber realized that's what I was doing. But yeah, I was hoping that would be the scene that would let Bara fans know, I made this game for you.
Nice.
And here we were just trying to torture him and making him hold out.
Yeah, right.
I was dying laughing when Raiden was like knocking at the door trying to get in. I'm like, wow, this is just too funny. But yeah, I think Markie was helping me with that one.
Okay, so how do you feel knowing that your game is going to be responsible for stealing hours of our lives?
Oh God, let it be a success. The thing is, I have like the luck of having this amazing art in the game that even if my story ends up being crummy, people are going to forgive it because Kosen does such an amazing job that you would literally play it just for the art. But that said, I really, really, really tried to make a good game for you. I actually studied how to make interactive fiction using the Choice of Games guidelines and learning all their techniques. Choice of Games is a interactive fiction publisher that does not visual novels, but it's interactive fiction where it's just text. And it's like a choose your adventure novel. And I learned so much from working through their submissions and how to really make a very long and satisfying game where you have so many elements to try out and so many things that can go wrong and so many things that can go right. I really think that fans are going to like this game. I'm hoping that it'll become like a nice little franchise for us because there's so much potential. So I really hope fans enjoy it. And I'm so grateful for those of you who've already supported us because now the game is definitely getting made, and I hope it's awesome.
Well, I mean, like I said, we played the demo and we were already hooked pretty fast, so we're really excited about this game.
Thank you.
So it's probably a little soon to ask because you're very much in the thick of all of this, but do you already have plans for future projects beyond this? Well, you did, actually. You said you have the 6 games a year plan.
Yes. Most definitely. Yes, definitely. So our next game, the next major project that will probably require some crowdfunding is called Cannibal Lottery. And this is our first horror game because Y-Press Games, I didn't name it Yaoi Press Games. I named it Y-Press Games so we could be open for Bara, Yaoi, Otomi's, horror, and interactive fiction. I personally am going to be writing a lot of the games. I am talking to another author right now about maybe doing a visual novel version of one of her novels. At this time, and while we're still getting established, I'm doing a lot of the work myself. And Cannibal Lottery is a really great horror game that I hope will get us noticed by some of the people who might ignore us because we're doing gay games. I hate to say it, but that's how it is. And this game is about a society that lives in a symbiotic relationship with a group of cannibals, and the cannibals have to eat them, and they have a lottery to decide who gets eaten, and you're playing as the governor of the humans trying to figure that out and deal with the consequences of that. So that's what I'm really excited about. Beyond that, we are going to be making a lot more Bara games. We discussed right now, we're just workshopping a few ideas, like a superhero game, a Bara superhero game, a Bara wrestling game, and something crazy, like weird stuff, like Bara fairy tales.
That would be awesome.
Where you're a Bara Rapunzel or... and then Bara bells, where it's basically like Gone with the Wind, except Scarlett O'Hara is a Bara guy, not in drag, but wearing.
That sounds amazing. I love that immediately.
I mean, stuff like that. I'm actually talking to I'm getting input from gay men and making sure that we do something that they'll like and not find offensive or demeaning. And the Bara Bells idea, I shopped on the Bara Hell forum, and they were laughing. And I think that's the sort of project that will get you noticed just for the sake of how crazy it is. And then if you make it a good game on top of that, it's a good recipe for success.
Yeah, that's definitely unique. I mean, the horror game sounds intense and definitely something. I mean, it's not podcast related as far as our typical genre, but that sounds amazing. So we'll definitely have to check that out. And
I really hope that blows up, because I have written horror screenplays before. I was working with a production studio, and I never sold a screenplay, but they read it, and horror was something I really wanted to get into. And I have a lot of great horror ideas. And I think that I've seen some visual novels like Doki Doki Writing Club. Is that right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Doki Doki Literature Club. Yeah, I've watched Game Grumps play that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that was actually a horror game.
Yeah,
and
it's really freaky.
Yeah, and my programmer played it, and she said, this is a great genre for visual novels. This is something that you can get really swept up in, and I'm excited to try that. And also, my heart will always be with yaoi and bara and male romance. That's just who I am. Anybody who knows me, that they know I'm Yamila. I can't be anything else but that. But I do want to try horror and maybe some otomis and cover all our bases. And try to become one of the larger companies in the business. So, I'm going to pursue that and see how it works.
That's really exciting. So your Kickstarter is still going. If people want to contribute, where can they go to contribute, and how can they follow the Yaoi Press and Yaoi Games? Or I'm sorry, Y Press Games.
Okay, I guess the best thing to do is to go to Kickstarter.com and search for Two Trust and Incubus. That's Two Trust and Incubus. And then you should find our Kickstarter, which is going on until April 21st, 2018. And on the bottom of that Kickstarter, you will find all the ways to follow us. We have a newsletter on ypressgames.com. You can also find that. We have a Facebook groups for all of our games. So there's a Facebook group for My Magical Demon Lover and a Facebook group for Two Trust and Incubus. We have the Y Press Games Twitter at Y Press Games, and the Yaoi Press Twitter, which, I built quite a following with Yaoi Press, so I didn't want to abandon that. So it's all mirrored on the Yaoi Press Facebook, the Yaoi Press Twitter, and then we have a Yaoi Pros Twitter. And if you're on Pinterest, you can follow Yaoi Press. We have many boards on Pinterest. And Tumblr, yaoipress.com will take you to our Tumblr. And on Tumblr, you'll also find the Y Press Games Tumblr. And the fun thing, if you scroll to the bottom of the Kickstarter, we have the characters as chibis stripping for you if you get social media points for us. Okay, and Harcy's already half naked, and Walt is already half naked. Saji still has all his clothes on, and Devi has all his clothes on. But if you get me 200 followers on our Instagram, which is at YPress Games, then Devi's going to take off his clothes. And then if you reblog our Tumblr post announcing the game, if we get up to 100 reblogs, I think we're at like 78 right now, Saji's going to take off his first layer of clothes, and then eventually you're going to see Chibi Peen. So that'll be fun. Harcy's almost there. He's just got a little tiny banana hammock right now, but it should be going pretty soon.
That's amazing. Okay, so that's our goal.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I'll definitely make sure to link all of that, and then we're going to just have to make sure we try to get as many reposts as possible, because this needs to happen.
Absolutely needs to happen. And also everybody can play the demo if you find it through the Kickstarter too, which yes, I strongly recommend.
Absolutely.
Yes, the new demo just came out March 9th, where I rewrote it based on the feedback we had gotten, because there was a lot of good things brought up that needed to be addressed. And also it was a more narrative version of the demo. It's actually about like 15,000 words longer than it was. And there's the trailer is actually something we're really proud of. That was done by Studio Kosen. It's a beautiful, exciting trailer. You think it was for an anime. They did a great job on that. So be sure to stop by the Kickstarter and watch the trailer and play the demo. It's available for Windows, Mac, and Android, and Linux. I think Linux too.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you again for being on the show with us. And we'll make sure to post about the Kickstarter so everybody has a chance to go on there and contribute to this amazing game and play the demo. And then, of course, we'll be following. And as soon as the game's released, we'll have to make sure to play it and gush about it. Yeah.
And we'll definitely let everybody know when we get to see the chibi peen.
Yes.
Yes. Yay. Thank you.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you again. And
I appreciate this so much, guys.
Thank you for being on. We were really excited to talk to you because we're both really excited for the game.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you. You guys are great.
Thank you. Thank you again, Yamila, for taking the time to speak with us about your new game that's coming out. And good luck again with the rest of the Kickstarter.
We're going to be posting the link for the Kickstarter all over the place just to remind everybody, because this game is already going to be awesome, but the Kickstarter is going to make it be just beyond awesome. There's a lot of extra stuff to do. And if you have any doubts, if you go to the Kickstarter page, there's a demo that you can play. That's awesome.
And there's Dick. There's lots of Dick. Very sexy. It's a lot of fun. I haven't tried to play through more than once because I was super giggly the first time I played through, but I think you can take different routes in the demo, but I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah. And try to maybe not be like me and Markie and just torture the poor guy because you have the opportunity to.
You should do that.
Or, do whatever. Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be it for now. We're going to have our normal bottom episode pop up at the end of the month. So keep your eye out for that. And until then,
see you then.
Bye.